All right. Hey,
Oh,
we're
wow.
live. Back. Hey,
It's
this is
Friday again.
it's
It's
Friday
time for
again.
us to sit around and talk bad about technology companies.
We talk evil about them. Actually, it's going to be some very interesting stuff that we have over here today. I think we have some interesting stuff. First things first. When we last left our heroes, Windows 11 was discussed and how to get that in. And as you can see from my share screen, this is what. How do you know if a person's got Windows 11? Right. So you might have Windows 11.
Oh dear.
Jeff
Yeah,
Foxworthy.
yeah.
It's like if you got your start button in the middle, you might have Windows 11.
Either that or it's
Yes.
a Mac, right? I
Oh,
mean,
it's
Macs
a
have been
Mac.
doing this forever.
Oh, look at smoke. It's in the middle, and here it is to type into search. And oh, by the way, so here's like the multi window now shows up like this. Check it out. Look at that look. Oh,
Mhm.
see my other stuff over there. So as you can see, preparing for the insider build, I have it, and I've already received one update, one giant one. It took
Yes.
about 30 minutes for it to actually run, but only 30 minutes. We've seen Windows updates in the monster kind before that have basically that's it. You're down for the rest of the day. You're down for the count.
Right.
Not so.
Two
It,
hours, three reboots later,
I,
it's sitting there saying I'm 90% installed.
yes, exactly. So I'm looking at this. I thought this said if you're already fighting insider build preview builds. No, it actually says flighting. So
Flight.
that's a new term. You're flighting the build. I'm flighting. Oh, is it like flights, like when you go to a bar and then like, can I have a flight? I want the different flavors. Yes, I was
Right.
gonna have this flavored. I like the green. That red, it's a little bit too tangy
Flight of
there.
Scotch. See, they do single malts that way as well.
Oh yes, and of course wine, as they say.
And wine. Yes, man.
Yes, I
Love
have
it.
my flight. All right,
Mhm.
so there I am. I'm in. I got all the pieces that are going. We saw just before we started, we were looking at a couple of nuances that are. Uh, if by the way, if you reach a nuance, one of the things that I did, I had a case where like I was running this little program, and it's going to go beep-a-deem, beep-a-deem. So this is just a commander over here, and I clicked on it twice. I should have just clicked once. And I was having an error when it was coming in. The first thing I did, it said 7-zip, not working. All right, so what did I do? I went to 7-zip, got it download, reinstalled it. Great. Then it gave me another error. It's like, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it sounded like permissions. So then next thing I did was set up compatibility mode. Actually, this was interesting. I wanted to show this one off the bat.
Yeah.
Right click again, properties. So here's the next interesting observation. Windows 10 is not a compatibility.
No, because Windows 11 and Windows 10, they're the same. They're just a little bit different. There's no need for a compatibility layer.
Well,
Don't jinx it yet. Actually, so what might be also is that they just don't know what compatibility errors they have yet.
they're still
So
coming up with the pieces, right? So
yeah,
all I did was to be sure that it wasn't anything. I just set it to Windows 8 and done. You saw it just opened up
and it works.
and it
Yeah.
works. So there's some tips for you, right? No problem. If you're setting up a VM with all this stuff, do make sure you practice the same thing that you would do on your desktop, because the last thing you need, especially when you're automating, is your VM spitting out errors.
Interesting that you mentioned VMs.
Yeah,
Have you
yes.
have you read that Windows 11 requires the trusted module in the VMs as
Yes.
well, which
Uh,
means that you have to do a Gen 2, or
oh, so if I'm doing
that's
a
the
VM, I
difference.
got to also click on that setting as
You got to
well.
change for Hyper-V, you've got to do it as a Gen 2. Parallels has had it in place forever. They don't create the Gen 1 versions, but yeah, there's some settings that you have to do in order to make sure that your virtual machine has that trust module in
Ah.
place as well.
So when I did that change in mine and I restarted,
It runs,
then
right.
and then just so you know, I made that change. I restarted. I still got the error that said, "Hey, you're not compatible. You can't get it." But I was already in the Windows Insider program, if you recall. So what
Uh,
did I do? I simply got the Insider version of Windows quote unquote 10. As soon as that got installed and it restarted, hey, you're in the Insiders program, so you get Windows 11. All of a sudden, everything was compatible.
gotcha.
It turned
So
out that I did not have the right version of Windows 10 to begin with, even if I had that trust setting set up. But I just let the system do it for me.
Yeah. So it probably was that the Windows 10, even though the trust module was installed, Windows 10 wasn't using it, so it couldn't check to see that it was enabled, and that's what that later version, the insider version of Windows 10 does.
You got it.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right. What was the next thing that you also left me? You left me with like, hey, I want to give you money, Ralph. So I got finally my crypto is in place.
Nice.
So we went through all this setup. We are finding out that it is asking. I'm not sure. It says watch list that this. I guess this is the price of Bitcoin right now, is what that means, right?
Right. And so you can add additional things to your watch list. So discover more assets. One that you'll want to follow. One that is also an up and comer. Is Ethereum, and it's one that Microsoft has been involved with. So you put a star to the right there of Ethereum. It's that.
Oh,
yeah,
like this star. Oh, right. There's Ethereum right there.
Yeah, there's your little watch thing. And there are two. There's Ethereum Cash, which is they branched, but
isn't this Elon Musk's?
There's Dogecoin, right?
I just follow just to see how he's doing compared to me.
Sure.
Holy smokes! And there's so many.
That's part of the problem. Yeah.
How about this Ethereum Classic?
Ethereum Classic is not that great. The Tezos though, the XTZ, it's TEZOS. Yeah, follow that one. That one is an up and comer because of NFTs, so it has a very low transaction cost for building out NFTs. The non-fungible tokens that allow you to have a digital asset that you can buy and sell.
By the way, continuous scrolling is in action over here.
Yes, Internet Computer is actually an interesting one as well, but yeah, there are way too many.
All right, so I have that checked. And then let's see, what do I do? Do I go
top left? You go home.
Home again.
Yes.
Aha! There we go.
Now they show up on your list, and you can see that, for example, Tezos went down to 615. So in the last 24 hours, it's lost around 7%.
Whoa!
These are volatile markets.
Dogecoin is it's cheap as heck.
Right.
It's like penny stock versus this guy, Bitcoin. He's the king.
But see, it's all fractional, so it doesn't matter. There's a lot more to it than just the price per unit. Let's just say that. Oh
wow! So
yeah, if you really want to get into it, what you want to look at is there are a lot of statistics around it as far as like market cap. The Ethereum is currently inflationary in that they've made a change to the network so that as things are being transacted, there's actually Ethereum that are being burned. So one of the Bitcoin, there is a limited number of Bitcoins that can be mined. There will be an end. Ethereum is open-ended, and that was deflationary, which meant that because you had an ever-increasing supply, okay, and you had a stable demand. So they made what they call the London fork, and when they did that, they made it so that instead of transactions being kind of neutral, transactions actually burn Ethereum. And so as people are mining, they're adding new Ethereum to the pool. As people are doing transactions, they're removing it from the pool. So since they made the London fork, over $1 billion worth of Ethereum has been burned. It's crazy the amount of money that flows through these systems.
This feels like my old Reuters machine. Look at the prices are changing as we speak right there. Look at that. This is like now you know why people like to play with this. I mean, just even the graphics playing with it.
I'm a holder. I'm not rolling it around a lot. I mine a little bit, and that's where all my little mad money comes from. So
mad money.
Mad money.
All right, we got it.
You know me. I'm cheap.
This is true. So we got to figure out where all that stuff's coming from. I got to set up my send receive. You have to verify your account. It's going to ask you for your driver's license or ID and stuff like that. Look, I don't have one of these IDs. Huh.
Yeah,
I
there'll
think
be
though it'll
a different way
probably
that you can do it.
right. I think it'll probably get mad and make you do something like send this on a fax or whatever on a fax on an email or something. Some way it's going to try to verify you. At some point, you have to give a little bit more information. I was able to get in here so far without a credit card, without any bank information. It did ask for my last 4 digits of Social Security, but that's okay. Last 4 digits is
But
considered.
see, yeah, but right now they still cannot definitely tie it to you, and it's around money laundering. Their banks have to, and most of the legitimate um, marketplaces for cryptocurrency are trying to follow bank-like rules in order to avoid money laundering. They have to know their customers, and they just want to make sure that you are a person and that they can tie these directly to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to stop money laundering. It's also to make sure that people pay their.
I could make some quick mad money by sending this to my spam list.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah,
anyone sees this number right now, click on it or type it in, and I'll
please feel free to join.
feel free to join.
What you end up doing is though you have to buy or sell $100 worth.
Yeah,
And
that makes
so
sense.
yeah, I'm gonna send you $100 worth once you get your thing set up.
Yep.
Then
Interesting.
you can sell it. You can play around. It'll be your own little mad money, something to play with.
All right, so I can pay stuff, I can get stuff. The future of finance. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
What's nice too is the earn and learn. If you're not sure, if you don't know what cryptocurrency is all about, there's Chills, which is a blockchain for sports and entertainment. And if you just take their little lessons and take little quizzes, it takes about a minute for each one of those, and you get $1. And
Look at that.
put the coins in there for you.
Ugh. Hey, so
And there's a lot of different coins, and that's
if
really
you got time in your hands, you can earn like quite a few, like at least $20.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. I see $20 here. I see more. I'm doing the math. I got 30, 40, 50, $60.
$60. And now you're back to that original invite your friends.
Yes. Well.
30, $40. Hey,
Okay.
what are you gonna do?
No crypto. I have nothing in my portfolio yet, but there we go. And my bonus to claim that, of course, I also have to follow through with the way to receive money and all that
Buying
stuff.
and selling. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of cool.
Speaking of crypto and all that stuff. Okay. Well. All right. So let's see, what else can we talk about over here? Oh, yes. So I was going to go to, we were talking about more cloud stuff. One of my big things these days is the Power Platform stuff that I do a lot.
Yeah.
And so even Larry had some questions for me on this particular case.
All right, let me give you a little bit of a background, and then we'll kind of bring it up. So, maybe 3 months ago, 6 months, between 3 and 6 months ago, I worked with a client and we did a workshop where we defined kind of their problem, and we laid out a little bit of a roadmap to, this is kind of the way that we think you should go. And one of the things that we mentioned, because they had the need for dynamic forms to gather data internally, and they wanted those to be something that's updated fairly frequently. And so we suggested, Power Apps. We build a Power App that does the form, and it's something that you can push off and not even have IT involved with.
Right.
So even when we were doing the workshop, they were a little hesitant. They were like, I think we want IT involved in this. Well, okay. But now we're this far along, and they're actually wanting to get started doing the work, because those lead times. That's just the way.
True enough.
And they're wanting to revisit Power Apps, because what they've done in the meantime is they've actually started playing around with Power Apps internally, and they have some people on the business side that are able to build some Power Apps, but it's not as they don't have as many people that were willing to step up and learn it as they were expecting. And then the IT side, on the IT side, it's like pulling teeth to get their developers to do Power Apps, because it's a different mindset, and it's not something that they feel comfortable with. And so it takes a different kind of developer mindset. It is a developer mindset to use to build Power Apps, but one of the things that they were running into is that they did not see the SL the software lifecycle.
Yep.
They didn't understand what's going to get checked in to get.
Yep.
And how do we build a pipeline that deploys this out to our individual, how do we do pull requests against this? What's really going on? And so that's what I came to ask you about. I mean, really, if you're going to talk about Power Apps, can you hook me up with some knowledge?
Yes. So this is like the loaded question that I do get asked with a lot. One of the biggest things is, so great. The citizen developer has now the power to do whatever. But the thing, just like giving out when they used to have MS Access and all those other programs, you didn't want shadow IT to be created from that. You didn't want to have like a whole bunch of like unregulated, unmanaged apps suddenly appearing out of nowhere. It's bad enough that we give them spreadsheets and they can make, million row Excel sheets and go crazy with that stuff. But imagine now something that's got the power of the battle station, where potentially you could be hitting on company resources that suck the power out of it, or suddenly there's like 1,000 emails in somebody's inbox because they didn't do a loop properly, and sent 1,000 times the same email to the same person, because people don't always understand some of these little concepts like do until or while, so it's low code. But when they say low code, it means there is some code, or at least some concept of like, if I'm going to like fit things together, like in the case of an automation, I'm going to say, when this happens, send a mail. Okay, that sounds simple enough. All right. Well, if I say when this happens and that thing keeps triggering, boom, 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 over and over, did you expect that to happen? Right? It's like, oh, why does it keep doing that? Because here's what I'm doing. I said when this happens, add item to the SharePoint list. And so when does this happen get triggered? Oh, when something gets added to that list, make sure that gets added. What? So that means you got to every time it's circling.
And you eventually just exhaust all of your resources and everything.
Or something bad. In that particular case, though, Microsoft knew that a lot of people make that exact same mistake, and now it'll tell you, no, we will not even allow you to deploy this app now, because we can already see there's a circular thing going. However, now imagine that is to send it to a person. There is nothing that says that you can't send that same email to the person over and over and over. Wouldn't you like it to like have a little code that says, hey, I already sent that mail. This event is coming in. It's a duplicate. I know it because I already did it. But will a non-developer know to do that?
I was going to say that takes programming, though. I mean, that's really what it does.
That is programming.
We say low code, and we mean that you're not having to necessarily write code, but you're still having to program.
Yes.
You're having to decompose a problem and construct a solution.
Yes. So I don't know if you ever seen like in the Lego programming. Hold on a second. There's that concept of Mindstorm.
Yes.
All right. You can actually learn to program with Legos and program your pieces. All right. I haven't been here since I got my new system over here. It's been a while, but you can literally, this is programming in the basic sense. Actually, this is really low code programming.
It is.
To tell a robot what to do and how to do it, and you're doing it via graphical interface. All right. And that's what they mean by
turtle graphics. I mean,
yes.
If we want to really, turn on the Wayback Machine, turtle graphics. Move forward, turn left.
There we go. Exactly.
Very
and this is the point.
Command set, but it was still a command set.
Right.
Right. And you're still programming because you're sequencing this series of steps.
It got it. So all of these, and you can see in some cases, all it is just selecting through a small device the next step that goes on. And that's all there is to it. There is no going in there and typing in code like move CX memory to position X, like in the old machine language that they used to do in order to make this kind of stuff happen. All that is under the covers, as long as they give you a framework on top. And that's what the Power Platform is all about. All of that is done for you. But of course, you have to work within its environment, which means if you want to do something that doesn't fit in there, then hey, now you got to go and make a real program to make that happen. However,
No,
go ahead
see,
and make
wait,
your real.
I'm gonna take exception because you just said something that I think that you want to try again.
Okay.
I don't think you mean a real program. I
Ah,
think that what you mean is a traditional
thank you.
program written in a traditional programming
This is
language.
true. So
Because
that's interesting that you
it's
brought that
real.
up. Yes,
Yes.
that's interesting you brought up because you notice I looked up Power Platform Fusion Team. Microsoft has this concept of what's called a Fusion Team. The Fusion Team is everyone from programmers to IT to business. As far as they're concerned, the nirvana of this development is for everybody to belong to this Fusion Team. There's a book out there to get, and we'll put a link in there for this one in particular for the
Yeah, because
Fusion
I'm gonna check
development.
that out this weekend. I mean,
Right.
that's
Right. And the concept is
pretty cool.
they talk about low code and no code, and they have this concept of pro code. Why did they call it pro code? They called it pro code. Was it because I'm for code? Well, it's all code. So if you're low code, does that mean you're anti code? No. And so we found out the origin of that was from a different system, not Microsoft, as professional code. I'm going to say, hey, so I'll take exception to you there. I will argue that any code done in a business environment is professional. If
If
you're
you're
doing
getting
it,
paid for it.
you're getting paid for it, or if you're doing it and you don't want to pay because you didn't do it right, right? That opportunity cost is a payment. Ergo, it's all pro code. So what is it? Again, the same thing. It's traditional code, C sharp, even now JavaScript or any of that is considered the so-called pro code. Or if you can't do it here, do it there. Now, what they did with the Power Platform was interesting. They said, well, if you have to do it in that traditional sense, and if you follow this framework, do whatever you want, and you can make a custom piece. All you have to do is, if you do that in framework, you can now call it, and you can incorporate whatever the heck it is into our system. So I'll give you an example. I want to talk to millions of rows of data. Well, there's no freaking way the Power Platform is going to do that because you're taking down the entire tenant just to do that kind of work. Microsoft will charge you capacity. They'll say, okay, well, you know what? We'll let you do the million rows of data. However, it's going to cost you $300 a month to do it. That's nuts. Because I thought this was Azure. I thought this was in the web. Yes, it is. If you do it in real Azure, it's pennies on pennies. Now you're paying $5-10 a month, but you let Azure do it. But now I need to make an API that talks to get that data from there, or Azure Synapse or something. And now you have your data. You didn't have to buy all that crazy capacity. In other words, you didn't, with the Power Platform, have to recreate what you did in Azure, because you just simply said you just use Azure. Again, never reinvent the wheel, right? If they have it somewhere, go do it. Azure Functions is another example. If there's something that you can't do, it's a little bit higher code. Actually, Azure Functions is sort of low code because they have connectors and stuff in there.
It's serverless. That's what they
It's
call
serverless.
it, right?
Yes.
So you don't care about even what the machine that it's running on looks
Yes.
like.
Right.
You just have a naked, you have naked code.
Yes, but it's as minimal as you'd like it to be.
Right.
It can run as tiny as it can be. All right. So it is semi low code, but that's pay as you go. So only when it gets used do you get charged, because otherwise it goes to sleep or goes away. If you want it to be awake immediately, well, you got to pay a premium where it's it's kept warm. But in the end of the day, it's either that or you pay for Power Platform like a monthly license, whether you use it or not, and up to a capacity you can use it, then you have to pay more. So those are the levers that you have to choose. Yeah, that's a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, and really the power apps, the Power Platform is something that's being used in anger, if you will, right? It is actually solving business problems today. So it's not like 6 months ago when we said Power Apps is the place that you want to be. We were really ahead of the game. If they'd said, okay, start tomorrow, we would have been a little bit out of Yeah, it would have been rough.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
No,
But this
now
is
it's not.
evolving
Yes.
because people are doing it. People are using it to solve business problems in production.
Indeed.
We would no longer be that first line of people that are in the door with Microsoft. And that's really where the MVPs, and that's where, you and I like to play, because we like to play with new things
Indeed.
or interesting things. But there are people that have had to go through this process of having a software lifecycle, and
Right.
they've had multiple versions of these Power Apps out. And so versioning then is part of it as well. And all of those have been solved. It's just a matter of finding the community, finding a kind of a local guide, if you will, right? That can show you the hot spots.
Aha.
Right? If
So
you're going to go visit a city, if I'm going to go to Chicago, I'll tell you, Ralph is the guy that I'm going to call. Okay. You don't
take you to the. I'll show you where everything is. I know all the deep, hidden places for sure.
Yes, the places that are interesting, rather than just the places that everybody knows about. Because
Exactly.
it's okay if you're solving the same problem as everyone else, but I mean, normally, if you're solving the same problem as everyone else, you really ought to buy an off-the-shelf package.
Indeed.
Right.
So speaking of that, so I showed you,
Yes.
we showed you over here the just this is the blog of Fusion Development, but there's actually a Fusion Dev book, and then we're going to post that into the links as soon as we can. In fact, maybe some of that links might already be here. Let's go see Fusion Teams. Let's see if it's in here. Is it in here? Oh yeah. So there's a webinar, and with the Power Platform. There's actually, this webinar is actually really good. Walks you through it. I've seen that one, so I'm going to close that one out for a moment. I'm just going through, literally all I did is I typed in Power Platform Fusion Team. This is my search engine. So there's a whole bunch of stuff on it. Transform it with Fusion, low code apps. There's a bunch of people that, of course, they talk about the same thing. Those are the MVPs. They have their little pieces on it. And of course, Power Platform, that Microsoft.com talks about the Fusion Team as well. All right. So given that, it starts over here, and I have a link. This is the guidance documentation.
Okay.
The guidance documentation says, here's what you want. There's best practices. I mentioned this before, the concept of the COE, the Center of Excellence kit. By the way, so here's where some of that stuff is going to come from.
Oh,
that
okay.
you're looking for in the answer. And we talked about application lifecycle management. And yes, they have fully cooked application lifecycle management. There it is. Platform tools for Azure, GitHub Actions, components, literally all of that's automated. But however, when you use that kind of stuff, you assume that you have DevOps smarts to begin with. Right. So you have to understand, how does pipelines work? How do pull requests work under this area?
Well, once you get it, I mean, I think the treat and the thing that we need to let people know is, once you get it set up, then it's fairly easy to use, and the barrier to entry is fairly low.
Indeed.
It's getting that initial setup that you might need a little help with.
Right. So they make it even easier, because then the question was like, well, they're not developers in the first place. And this is why they're asking. It's like, how do we make sure we have the governance and control from the get-go? Because it is the Wild West. Anyone can right now, if you right now go to office.com from wherever you're at, and let me demonstrate that actually. Let me open up one of my people. Where's one of my peeps? Let me open up this guy right here. Stand by. Let's go ahead and open him. Where is he? Where'd he go? Is he ready to open?
Into this monitor.
I thought he was in here in this monitor. He may not be. Let's go ahead and let's switch to him. And maybe, he opens him here. Good. He probably opened up somewhere else. All right. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go, this is a dev tenant I have. I'm going to go to office.com. And hopefully it remembers. There it is. I'm inside office.com. Most everyone has office.com if you have M365. Just click on your apps, and you probably might see already in here Power Apps. And all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I have Power Apps? You mean I can just do this?
Just there.
I just stumbled upon it. I can't tell you how many companies I go to from every tenant. It's like, first thing I do is like, I'll see if I can stumble into this without it blocking me, stopping me, or not showing it to me. And almost everyone has it. All right. And most everyone has a default environment that they see right away. And people don't realize it because that default environment is essentially open to everyone by default. Next thing you know, people are making apps and going crazy and doing whatever they want. And unless they create a premium app where it basically says, oh, you got to pay. And of course, people say, oh, I don't want to pay. But then I'll do the free stuff. Next thing you know, you have apps coming out of your ears. So I'll go in there, and sometimes because they've had their M365 for years, so like 2 or 3 years worth of apps, test 1, test 2, might test, I feel like testing, all those app famously named apps all over the place with their names last used like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago.
Right?
And they're stale, never run, it was just built, whatever, people playing, right? And then, of course, people, maybe they discovered that they can create their own environments to play, and then they can do premium-y stuff. So essentially, you have a madhouse of stuff that could potentially be out there. All right. So we got all that. We got all that governance, and that's how easy it is to stumble upon Power Apps, Power Automate, all the good stuff, and just have at it. So what a lot of companies say is like, well, this is crazy. We don't want that crazy wild, wild west. Well, okay. If you, and this is why I'm saying this is a bit table stakes a little bit. We talk about the concept of the COE, the Center of Excellence kit, is because it comes with reports that say, here's all the people that have done stuff, here are all the apps, and here's an assessment of those apps. These are the apps that haven't been used in months. These are the apps that have the name test in it. You may want to kill these apps.
I was just thinking, man, I want a report that can show me, how can we interrogate all of this? And they've already got it. That's great.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I would need.
That's all ready to go. In fact, let me go try over here again and look at this guy. I'm going to go open up this profile. Watch this. And I'm going to show you now. Let me go to office.com on this guy, and he should basically take me there. He does. So I have over here Power BI, because one of the things in the Center of Excellence kit is a BI report, a dashboard, if you will.
Okay.
And let me go to my workspace.
There you go.
And I have here, where's my workspace? I should have had it here. Am I in the right place? Is there shared with me here? Hold on a second. Am I in the right account? Let me make sure this looks correct. Analyze COVID-19 report. Oh, maybe I don't have it in this one. Hold on a second. I may not have it in here. This is just the COVID-19. Let me go see if I can log in again as someone else. Oh, the other guy. Let's go see if I have it. Maybe I have it in the other guy. Let's go see him. So many accounts, so little time. And where did I put the other guy? I put him down here somewhere. I have several windows over here. So, okay, so he's over here. Let's go find Power BI here.
There you go.
Here we go, Power BI over here. Let's go to my workspace. And it's only the data governance. Where is my dashboard? This is very interesting. My COE is missing. And I'm not sure why exactly. I have this guy.
You don't have nearly enough browsers. I don't see Chrome in your list down there.
Oh yeah, so Chrome is
Firefox.
Chrome disappeared. Chrome was here. He's gone. I got to go reinstall him. That was very interesting that Microsoft dropped it, or was it? Or maybe it was just me. I don't know how it disappeared from here. Yeah. I am noticing that I don't see it on here on the workspace. Let's see. Let's go to workspaces, and I see
under dashboards.
Under
no dashboards. Yeah, you have no dashboards.
This is correct. And so this is why I'm saying I'm going to look again over here, not on this guy over here, and the next guy. I could have sworn I had him here. Let's go to the dashboards.
Mostly.
Recent. Here we go. There it is.
There you go.
All right. So check this out. Here's what the COE will do for me. So if I go here in the beginning, it says, this is what I can do. I monitor, govern, nurture. It's giving me an overview of all the Power Apps that are in place, all the environments, who are the makers, where are the makers located.
See, that's a term that I've got to come to grips with.
Yes,
makers.
Yes.
If you're building Power Apps, you're not a developer, you're not a coder, you are a maker.
You're right. So here's, for example, app usage, which is right now, by the way, my trial ran out on this one, so that's why I'm not going to see any data on some of this information. But I look over here from everything from adoption for what's going on. I can also look at what's called risk assessment. Let's go see if I can find the risk assessment over here. So there's insights on the makers. Hey, look, here's what they talk to. Here are the licenses. Here's all the connectors that they do. So I can find, hey, this maker does Dataverse exclusively. And hey, we should talk to that guy. He's got, he'll give us some expertise and some stuff. Here we go. App risk assessment. Right. And they give scores.
Oh,
right.
Cool.
And it does some, so it'll say, here's some apps. And here's their sessions. Like I said, right now, I had my trial expired on this like several months ago, so I don't have any real data. But the concept over here, each one will have, and let me go in, see that? It highlights.
Yes.
And gives me all this stuff. And this is a Power BI report. That's part of this. All right. So I can do my assessment. I can do all that stuff. And now essentially it gives me management on top of the admin screens that are out there. This is why it's at the core level. We're talking about using the COE. So that's part one. Part two is like you talked about the ALM piece over here.
Yes.
Well, it comes with the kit comes with an accelerator. And so here's the accelerator over here, and check it out. It uses actually Power Automate or the flow itself. So it doesn't even use ADO. However, it does need a GitHub, and it gives you instructions. Set up your GitHub, set up your environment so you have a dev, test, and prod, all that stuff.
Right.
And then here's how you connect to it. Here's all the stuff you do. And now all the users has to do is click on new project, add the information, and here's what they do. Deploy. Did you see me open up ADO or actions and type YAML?
I was gonna say, where's the YAML?
It's not. It's underneath the covers. It's underneath the covers. In the app itself, it writes the YAML, creates the pieces, makes the connection, does the actions.
Okay, so see, now I'm getting a little jealous. Okay, from being, I felt bad about the poor people that were having to do all the Power Apps and not having ALM, but now I want their stuff.
Yes.
I mean, because I've got to write YAML for mine, and
yes, this is all done. And if you don't like it, it's code that's open source. Go under the covers and fix that YAML and add maybe testing, QA, report run, all that piece. Plus, all this stuff can be downloaded with Visual Studio. So, for example, if I open up Visual Studio, and I'll show you this real quick.
VS Code.
In VS Code, I have this extension. Power Platform. Check this out.
Oh, nice.
Look at this, Power Platform. There's the tooling,
and
to create solutions packages. Yes, so now I can do my actions. I can do all that stuff from Visual Studio Code. I don't have to even edit in that. Remember the UI for the apps? And you do it by hand and you drag and drop pictures. Now that is just all JSON files and XML files. And, download it, bring in the code, and actually edit it with Visual Studio. Oh my God, that's like literally opening up the black box. And maybe you want to do like a variable change. All these variables are now using this connector or something like that. You make the update here in Visual Studio Code. Click on, it's a PR, right? Push it, CI/CD, and you're done.
See, it's. I like it though because it's still using the same tooling that everything else is. So it's sort of like one of those player pianos.
Yes.
Right? Where you can watch the keys going up and down and you can kind of pretend and you don't have to actually do it to hear the nice, pretty music. So this, you don't necessarily have to code it in order to get that professional outcome.
Right. So here's an example where I selected the folder. I'm going to open up this project. Oh wow, this is new, by the way.
Oh.
There's my MS app right there. All right, and here's the source. That MS app file is just a zip file, right? Yeah. And here it is, the insights. Look, I got the manifest. I got references, control templates. Right. Cool. Here's my assets. Look, the logo. I can change the logo, for example, right over here. I don't have to go into the app and edit it there. I just go and change it over here. I mean, these are just endpoints in some cases, right? Look at this, right off the bat.
So that's how you can change and modify the template, if you will, the look and feel of the app.
So
is,
watch this over
that's in
here.
there.
So say, for example, I go in and I'm going to pretend I'm changing something. Look at that. All the references, component references going in. There's nothing over here. Let's go to the actual. This is the app itself. Hold on a second. What's a good one to change? Let's see. A good one to change would be maybe you're not resources. What's a good one? Connections would be a good one. So let's
Yeah,
find out if I
connection
have a good
strings are
connections.
that's the one that you want to change from environment to
All
environment.
right. So say, for example, I had a change over here and I made a change and it's going to be, it's a different icon, for example. And now it's changed and watch this. I hit the save, right? And if it was on the source control, this guy
Mm-hmm.
would now go in, turn on. Uh-oh, I don't have my, and then I could publish. See that?
Right.
Look at that.
Publish.
All that's
Right.
set to go, right?
Very cool.
So let me undo that change really quick, and then file save really quick. And then, and again, all that ALM I can do from here, or I could have done it here for free as a maker. I don't, you're a maker. I'm a citizen developer. I can't do that Visual Studio stuff. In fact, you don't want me to do that visual stuff. God forbid you just did what I did, which is type in Flycon instead of icon. Man, I could
Well,
potentially crash it.
but I mean, it's like spreadsheets. Okay,
Yep.
there was always, Sally down the hall or Jim across the hall
Yep.
that knew how to do spreadsheets, and you would get all of your data in place, and you would go to them, and they would help you with your formulas. And so this is, I can certainly see the makers being able to set their own pipelines up and things like that. But it's nice to know that there can be that office expert that they
Yes.
can go to that brings up VS Code and can actually twiddle it.
Absolutely. Well, the good thing though is you can see in the setup there is stuff that the admin has to really do. It's making you go through the process, like only if you're an admin or a person with true permission can you let this go. And there's the concept of if somebody creates a new project, it'll create a new environment for them, but there's an approval process that's also, by the way, built in. There's a whole management and a governance piece that you can say, hey, you just submitted an app. All right. Well, your app, I need you to put in business justification, the classification. I need all that stuff. Even though I'm a regular user, you can answer business questions. It's not coding to tell me that you need this because you need to have access to that special payroll report because I'm the payroll guy, right?
Or I need this inventory because I'm going to a sales show.
Exactly.
Right?
And now there's DLP on here. So when environments are created, you can create the DLP properties that say, okay, you know what? Nobody can just make a Twitter connection and start spitting out company info to Twitter. It's going to say you could read Twitter, but you can't write to Twitter. However, those guys will be able to write to Twitter because they're marketing. We're giving them permissions for the marketing group to write to Twitter. And so when they do all this stuff, the marketing folks, they definitely don't want to do code. However, they want to write to Twitter. Okay, fine. I'm not going to stop you. Ask the question. That's all there. How about it? Look at these. And look, here's healthy AM. I like this one. This is actually like scenarios for healthy APM, ALM, I should say. Moving a single environment, manage the solutions. It talks about the DevOps piece. And then here's scenario one, for example, citizen development. Gives you the idea. It's like if you're a citizen developer, here's the scenario. Again, these are all guidance. Remember that. Guidance.
Right. It's not building the path. This is just signs along the road.
Thank you.
All we want to do is we want to help guide them. They're still going to have to trod every step. It's not one of those moving sidewalks. Right. So you get out of it what you put into it. That whole thing just.
So let's have fun with this a little bit. All right. So you in the community out there, and here's the powerusers.microsoft.com is where to go. This is the community. And in there, if you go to the community blog, there's, for example, recently the demo extravaganza. People who make apps on the side can submit here. And there's games, prizes, and all kinds of stuff you can do. And potentially these are things you can download as well and play. I mean, they have stuff for kids. They have stuff that people use for companies. And there's like a puzzle. Here's an enabled business for renewing and responding to the pandemic. right? I mean, but the more fun stuff. Let's look at the fun stuff. For example, here's Kitty Run. Somebody made an app that looks like a side loader
Right.
game. Oh my God. Look at this. And then, of course, they just put a little YouTube for that over here. Oh, and we got to play the YouTube for this one over here. Stand by. Let's go see Kitty Run for just a second over here. And let's go. I mean,
how cute is that?
what the heck? That's a power app. And then there's you just use your arrows up and down to run the power app piece. And then look, there's scoring and all that stuff. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. 1 second.
There are no hearts.
Start again. Check it out.
Oh,
very cool.
Very
Let's
cool.
look at that other one. So here's the other one, Poke Bubbles over here, and this is for Raquel to show her the power app for Poke Bubbles. So I'm gonna let's go over here, and let's see this one here for a second.
Pikachu.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
somebody's
so
getting sued.
trite.
Somebody's getting sued. Come on.
It's so trite, right? And then they go in and they just go and play it. This is just an example being played. And by the way, that's a mobile, right? So Power Apps, by the way, you can download in your phone or Android Power Apps.
Oh.
Anything that you have access to Power Apps in your enterprise, as long as you're on your phone, as long as you're logged in, it'll work.
So are they actual? They're not native. They're running in a framework.
They're
Right.
running in a framework. See, the thing is, when you build these things, they're automatically responsive, automatically mobile aware, out of the box. Right.
So they're basically PWAs. Right?
You got it. It's a
Progressive web
PWA.
apps.
It's like, actually, if you think about it, the Power App itself, that tool, that's the PWA, right?
Mhm.
And underneath, the Power Apps that run underneath is what runs. That's the content that runs inside.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right. So, and so we take a look at that and we say, okay, let's go over here.
We want to do some stuff. Yeah.
So there's a cool site, powerappsforkids.com. Very cool. And it's a course, and you can actually have kids. This guy, my buddy Rory Neary, he's really good. And I'm just going to go say, I'm going to play a quick note from him real quick over here.
Sure.
Hit the play.
Hi everyone, I'd like to talk to you today about how we at Power Apps for Kids think that Power Apps is a really fantastic tool for children to learn. So I'm going to break it up into two parts. Firstly, I'm going to be talking to children, and then I'm going to be talking to parents. So firstly, talking to children, why is it good for children to learn this? Well, it's easy to pick up. It is really genuinely easy to pick up. And we've had people in the UK from sort of 8 or 9 years old onwards picking this up and developing great apps. The great thing with Power Apps is you get immediate results. You can see what's happening on the screen absolutely straight away. You'll also see it's a lot of fun. We have had some amazing demonstrations as part of Power Apps for Kids, people making musical instruments, people making word games, people doing those whack-a-mole games. It's really quite, cool that you can do all this sort of thing. And then kind of, if you think about maybe your own education, there are a lot of subjects that you do, and there are lots of parts of those subjects that you may never use in the future. I can absolutely guarantee you that if you learn how to use Power Apps, you will develop a transferable skill, a skill that you can say, hey, I know how to do this. And even if it's not Power Apps that you use in the future, the skills you're going to learn are going to be so useful to you.
Yeah, that's great.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I get it. And that's what we were talking about before, that really Power Apps, it's low code, but it's still programming, right? There's no coding, but you're programming.
Right. Now you remember that Visual Studio we showed you earlier where we were able to download the zip. Power Apps, you can export solutions and stuff. And here are from the online, you can now go to the community online and get examples and Power Apps. So here's a whole bunch ready to go, right?
Nice.
And it tells you how to do it. They actually have an app. There's a Power App you can actually download, and from the app automatically get all this library that they have right here. They made an app for an app. All of these are available. And where's that stuff sitting in? There it is. It's sitting in, guess what? In GitHub. And it's just a zip file. You bring it, it's a zip file or an MS app. You bring that in and you saw it, and we can bring it in. All we have to do is in the Power Platform, we don't even have to touch Visual Studio. We simply import it, and then we have the app ready to go. It might ask us a few questions like, oh, this one needs your OneDrive connection. Okay, I say yes, allow this app to touch my OneDrive. It might ask for that, but for the most part, a lot of these apps that they make for the community have no connections or no need for anything at all.
So Ralph, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to. You're giving me way too much information because I need to eat and sleep at some time over this weekend because this is a rabbit hole. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff here that I really want to learn more about. And yeah, we need to get those links out, but
we do.
It's awesome.
Well, we can get you all started. So, I mean, just little things like this. The idea is making it fun makes it easier. There's some MVPs out there who specializes in showing the tutorials and stuff in the fun mode, as opposed to I'm solving a business problem. So, again, so many ways to tackle this particular fish. But what I showed you earlier was like, hey, for those folks that are serious orgs that need to do stuff, well, follow this path. Do the ALM, everything else. If you're just learning, here you go. If you bring the two together, if you fuse them together, all of a sudden,
about the engagement.
It's the engagement, right?
Yeah, engaging at the right level for your audience, right. and making it sort of sticky, so that it stays with them.
You got it.
Wow.
So wow, what a way to end it here.
I know it's wow. That was great. Good talk today.
Good talk. Yes.
Hope you have a good weekend.
I will.
Think we can tell everyone goodbye. We are going to
30 minutes earlier next week. By the way, we're going to be 30 minutes earlier.
We're going to be earlier. That's on me. I had a client meeting that I couldn't push around. We are going to eventually have guests again.
Yes.
We're getting closer and closer to that, and I've got a couple lined up, and I'm sure Ralph has some as well. So
sure.
If anyone is watching and has any suggestions, or if you want to be a guest, please reach out and let us know.
Let's not forget to post this in LinkedIn, by the way, that the show is done.
Absolutely.
Get a chance. All right.
Thanks,
Raquel.
everybody. Yeah.
Raquel's out there. Please sign us out, Raquel. I know Raquel's going to look at this and want to play also. Especially she's going to ask for the Pokemon games. Like, yeah, I want to do that.